Today I want to talk about the Akashic Records. These are the records that are held in the universal spiritual world, and we can access them. I believe everyone has their own book, and in this book are the records of all our lives, and what we've done, our achievements, our goals, our lessons, and everyone has their own book. When I say a book, I don't mean perhaps a physical book. I just mean that it's recorded in these places. And this is where we can go to get the information. We can go as a person and get the information and ask, and go up to the records and ask for our book, and then ask if we can sit with our book and read it, and the information will funnel into us. We can also ask when we're reading. I know that when I'm reading somebody in their past lives, that's what I'm going to actually read. I'm reading it through their aura, but I'm actually reading it through into their book. So we all have books down here or in other dimensions. You can access your own records. They are your records and you can access them. It doesn't mean you'll understand everything in the book, because our human comprehension is rather limited. And so some of the things in the book for when we've had spiritual lives, perhaps in other dimensions, won't be as easy for us to understand some of the concepts. However, I highly recommend that you do a meditation and go to the records, ask for your book, sit with your book, and see if you can scan or access the information. And then I think later on you'll actually know things about yourself, or you'll see pictures, or you'll start some new gifts. It's a great way to access your information in a spiritual manner. I always know that I will only be given what I can deal with this life. So, for example, there were some lives that will be challenging now to deal with in this life, because this life already has all its things. You won't perhaps be shown that or given such clear access to it. When you're reading for someone else and you're reading into their and through their book, the same thing will be happening. Spirit will only allow a certain amount to come through. So we have the book, then we have our guides to, I suppose, not censor, but make sure it'll be okay for us, and then we have us. The reader will be there as well. If the reader's there, then if the reader's doing it for you, it comes in that way and to the reader, and then the reader translates it to you. We hold these records because when we cross over, we can look at things and also see where we've improved and where we want to do some extra work. It's rather a fascinating area, I think. And the fact that we can access it, to me, is even more wonderful. So we don't actually access it through our brain. We access it through our mind, and we link into the universal mind where all the knowledge is stored. I always used to see it like a library, because I needed the visual when I did my visualization. And I would walk up the steps and open the door, say hello to the person or the guide who was there, and ask if I could go to my book. So then I'd go to this life, would be the E section. I'd go to the E section and take my book out and sit there and read my book. By doing that visual, I wasn't only doing it visually, I was actually doing that energetically, and it was quite powerful for me to do. So I suggest that you could use that process as well. You might find other ways you want to do it, but I found that was really quite a cool way to do it. If you meditate and ask to go to the rooms, it's really a good idea afterwards to write down or record what you got, what you saw, because you'll often forget it very quickly. And it's something that you really want to know about, because it's all about you and your lives. Sometimes it also makes sense of who you're with and why you're with them, and why you're pursuing a certain business or career, because it's actually coming from that book of other lives. Go and look at your book. Go and ask if you can have access to your book. Spirit will usually do it for you, because people don't know how to do this. And then you'll find in the next few months or even years, more and more information will come in. I used to end up just knowing things that I didn't know how I knew it. And the reason I didn't know how I knew it, because my human had to go and look it up, or be saying something to somebody and not knowing what that word really meant or what that herb really did, even though I just used that herb. And then I'd have to go and look it up. And I knew I was accessing their book. When it was my stuff, I knew that I had to look it up. I was accessing my book. some of the things will be unclear to you on a human level, but you can get the clarity by Googling everything, because I Google a lot of things, as you can tell by my podcast. Enjoy going and looking at your book. It's fun and it's a good thing to do. And it'll only increase your wealth of your spiritual knowledge and also make your tie to your guides and to the spiritual world a lot stronger, because now you've got your book to go and read all about yourself. You will not be able to read another person's book without there be some permission from them. So when someone comes for reading, for example, they're already giving permission to be read. And it's interesting, the word is a reading, and you read their book. However, you won't be allowed to go into other people's books, and that's good. There needs to be a privacy around that. So enjoy your week going reading your book, or if you go to the library now. And if you get any insights, send me a little message. I'd love to hear. Sending you love and light.